Good evening and welcome to Confessions. I'm your hostess of light, Jennifer Watson. I'm an empowerment coach, numerous astrologer, past life reader, and author. And my mission is to provide a safe space for people to step into their darkness so they can shine their brightest of lights. And that's what the show is all about. So tonight we'll be talking about dreams and nightmares. And what are they trying to tell us? You know, our subconscious is a powerful communicator, and sometimes dreams are used as a way of our higher selves to try to get through to us. You know, through symbolism or stimulation of our senses, dreams can evoke powerful emotions within us that leave us completely baffled in our waking life. So how do we make that connection? And what is it that our dream minds are trying to tell us? So joining me to talk about this topic tonight is a fun group of women who are no strangers to wacky dreams and interpretations of them. Please join me in welcoming my dearest of friends, Mimi Clark, Nikki Oman, and Vicki Jenkins. Welcome to Confessions, ladies!
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So how are y'all doing? You ready to bare your soul?
No.
Oh my gosh, Vicki, you are the first person to say no.
I was shocked nobody else does it.
That's because Vicki will just tell me like it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'll bear what I want to bear.
About dreams, but.
All right, so we'll bear your dream souls, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So how's everybody doing? So, you know, I purposely created this show on dreams in the Pisces, Sun and Pisces time, because I don't know about you guys, but whenever there's some planet hitting the Pisces sign, they're either vivid, crazy, or just really strong message that I figure out pretty quickly. So what do you guys find about this time, or maybe even times in your lives where you feel that they're strongest? What about you, Mimi? How about you?
I mean, I think that the universe is always trying to talk to us, and I feel like there's just times, like Pisces time or anything interacting with Pisces, that the veils just kind of get thinner, and it's like, here we go. I know for me, because of my monkey mind, the best way to get a hold of me is my dreams. Like, that's how you get my attention, because I'm finally quiet. So the universe is like, okay, we're going to talk. Here we are. We're dialoguing. So I personally really pay attention to my dreams. And, you know, they come and go, they ebb and flow, but definitely during Pisces. I wanted to tell you, I actually had a dream with you and Nicole in it last night, preparing me for this episode. I was like, this is so funny. So they're like kind of prophetic, like, here we go, we're going on this way.
That's funny. Vicki, how about you? What do you think is important to pay attention to your dreams?
Well, you know, when we're talking about is Vicki or Nikki? Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, Vic, I said Nikki, but Nicole, I'll call you Nicole.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I find the best times for me is not necessarily like the Piscean time. I always get them around eclipses, which I think is interesting. But they get really powerful. Sometimes I'll get visitations, or like I had a dream about Christ as he decided to come on Earth during a solar eclipse one time. So that was really interesting and amazing and life-changing. But I find when I'm going through major transitions in my life and I'm really doing deep inner work, I meditate a lot, so a lot of times they'll leave me alone in my dreams, but there are times where I go and they get really, really vivid, especially when I'm about to go through something huge in my life. Right now I'm going into a ceremony, and I know that they're starting to ramp, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I find it that way, eclipses and transformational times, as I blah, blah, blah.
That's interesting that's during that time. I'll have to look at that. Vicki with a V, how about you?
Yes, I'm not so sure about Pisces. I haven't really, followed that very closely. What has struck me with my dream time is when I was about 45, I started having dreams that didn't have anything at all to do with me or my life or people I knew. And so at first that bothered me because I guess you expect your dreams to be something you understand, and they weren't but now that's become more commonplace for me. I dream not about me and my life, rarely do I. But vivid dreams are almost always, for me, a message. I pay close attention to vivid dreams. I know that they're very clear and very strong for a reason. Not that they necessarily have to make sense, but if you question and listen, you'll get the answers and to what the message was. And I find also in dreams, it's always emotions, always, and you're everybody in the dream, even though you don't know some of the people. It's always, unless you're traveling. But if you're having a dream for emotion reasons, you know, then that's you're all the characters in your dreams, I believe.
So picking up on what Vicki just said, what kind of symbolism do you think is out there that people should be aware of? Maybe not symbolism, but what kind of things in dreams should people alert themselves to? Is there anything in particular, Mimi, you think that people should keep an eye out for when they wake up in the morning?
I think, you know, when you look up, like, when you've had a dream and you wake up like, oh, what does the wolf mean or the raging water mean? You know, it's really easy to go look at the symbolism, like, online or whatever, in a symbolism book. But what I think is really important is noticing any feelings that come along with it, because you could have a rushing river and they're like, oh, your life is going to get intense and might be a little scary. And meanwhile, you're like, I feel so alive in this. This feels so good. Or you could have the rushing river and maybe it's like you kind of feel like things are going over your head, like you're maybe missing something. There's so many different things. So I think, like, beyond listening to anybody else, what do you feel in it? What were you feeling? What were you experiencing in it? And I think, you know, a lot of times, too, it can also be tempered with color. I actually have really colorful dreams, and I've heard some people say that's rare, but most people I talk to have colorful dreams, so
Yeah, I do.
I don't think it's as rare as people may say, but I think colors can kind of give you a hint of what's going on. And I liked what Vicki said, too, about recognizing yourself in any of the dreams. Like, you could be dreaming about somebody else. I have a lot of celebrity dreams, which is so interesting to me because I'm not, like, a celebrity stalker. But recognizing yourself and everything in the dream. What is it trying to tell you about you? The Toltec tradition talks about dreams are like trying to just show you kind of things that you're missing. And so, you know, if you can go into, like, the colors and the feelings, then I think you can really, like, find your way into, like, what is it that my subconscious, the universe, is trying to tell me.
Excellent. Vicki, what do you think?
Vicki with a V.
Vicki with a V.
I completely, you know, relate to what Mimi said, and yeah, it's what the sun might symbolize to me would have a different meaning entirely to another person. So it really is about the individual, and the best way to figure that out is, like Mimi said, with the feelings. How did that make you feel? And so I don't know, I lost my train of thought there. But anyway.
That's okay. Nicole, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I think that's a really good way, is looking at the symbolism, but I also... So what I find to be helpful around dreams is to wake up and write them down. And as you write them down, you start tracking them. And when you track them, you can start noticing your own symbolism, like they were saying. So it's like, okay, every time I'm feeling this way, I get emotional or whatnot. And a lot of times you have to look at the different elements in your dream as well. If you're having a lot of water, it's probably connected to emotions, or fire, it's passion, something of this nature. And a lot of times I get beaches. And I find that beaches, for me, in my own symbolism is the meeting of my subconscious and my conscious mind. Mm-hmm. And so I start writing them down, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's that. There's me processing that. You know, a lot of times I'm on a little boat in the middle of an ocean, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? And it's like I'm processing deep, massive emotion or deep subconscious issues. So a lot of times you'll get these through lines, and one thing I always say is God is in the through line. So if you keep getting same symbolism in your dreams, that you really highlight that. You got to really pay attention because something's really trying to get your attention. And that's what I find helpful for me, especially when I wake up. And it's so easy, and everybody does this. It's so easy to forget a dream if you don't write it down right away. Mm-hmm. Once in a while, you'll get something during the day. You're like, oh, I had a dream about that. But if you write it down, you'll start remembering them better. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sometimes we even wake up that second we can lose it. So what do you recommend for people, besides journaling and tracking is one way, but how else can people remember their dreams when they wake up? Any thoughts on that?
I personally, when I wake up, because I sometimes write them, not every time. I write them if they feel very powerful, but when I wake up, it's my conscious thought to well, what was my dream? What was I being told? And it's also, a conscious process before I go to bed. Like, if there's something I need to know, tell me in my dreams. I ask for it, and then I tune in, first thing when I wake up. And I have to mention that I find it's so easy. If I wake up naturally, it's really easy for me to tune into my dreams. But if I'm, jerked out of my sleep, by a cat or something, it's really difficult for me to remember them. But setting that intention and then making that part of my morning process helps me tune in.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I also read somewhere, I don't recall now because it's been a while back, but I started noticing that this does have an effect. The more you move after you wake up, the more it's erasing that dream. So if you can lay there in bed for a little while, I know it's difficult with most.
No, it's not difficult to lay in bed. It's difficult to ignore the alarm saying you got to go somewhere. But it's not difficult to just lay in bed.
Okay. But if you can lay there quietly and not move and just, give some attention to what you was dreaming at the time, that might help. Movement, they say, wherever I read that, I can't quote who, but it made sense because I started paying attention, and I do think that, if I get up and run to the restroom, dream's gone. Dream's gone. But if I laid there and thought about it, I can get a good part of it back.
Now, there's so many different kinds of dreams that we can have, and it goes from sometimes we have recurring dreams or just one-time dreams, and dreams where there's a lot of people in it or it has a theme. So, Nicole, why don't you start with the conversation with the kinds of different dreams that people may be having?
Yeah, I find I usually have 3 to 4 different types of dreams. I like to call it the normal dreaming is the subconscious dump or the processing. The things that you've been going through in your life, and your brain is trying to organize that. And that's such a Virgo way of thinking of it. But it's kind of like watching Inside Out when they go to sleep, they press the little memory button and they all roll away and they go to long-term memory. Well, I feel like a lot of times dreams are kind of like that. It's like trying to process everything. I also feel like a lot of times in normal dreams, your subconscious or even your guidance system can pop through little things. But I also still feel like that's a bit of a regular dream kind of brain reprogramming when you're sleeping. Then I also feel like we can astral travel. I feel like I've traveled in my dreams, like I've gone somewhere. A big one that I get a lot, and I had one last night actually, is my visitation dreams. And a lot of times I know, and here's my symbolism in my dreams, is I always get visitations in an airport or a train station. Or a mall cafeteria kind of thing. So very transient. And a lot of times it's 2 beings that come, and they are male and female, and they usually have a message for me and a package at the end. But sometimes it's just a message, and it's always in like an airport and whatnot. And then there's another big one, and I don't get these. My husband gets these. They're the prophetic dreams, where he'll have a dream and then it'll happen. So I don't get that as much. I get a lot of the visitation, and I get the astral travel a lot. And obviously I get the regular ones. Those are the ones that I find, like there's different types, and you can feel the different ones. Sometimes when I get a visitation, I'll like wake up out of it, and I'll still feel them. Or even a visitation. There was one time that couple gave me a gift, and it was this huge Buddha blanket. And they wrapped it around me, and I woke up, and I still could feel it on my body. And the more I moved, it would dissolve. But if I sat there still, I think I sat in it for like 15 minutes. I could feel it wrapped around my body. So a lot of times when it's really vivid, I know that it's one of those different things.
Yeah, I love those dreams where you wake up and you still feel it. It's kind of cool. Mimi, what else? What other kinds of dreams have you come in contact with? Are you familiar with or heard about?
I have really interesting dreaming life. I think one of the most interesting things is when somebody is wanting to contact you and they show up in your dreams. I've had that happen quite a few times, where they will show up, and like whether they show up in your life right then or not, like they're wanting to contact you. And so I've had that happen a few times. And my dad passed away this last year. My dad has visited me in my dreams several times. Right before, so I moved, and right before I had to give up the lease on my house, I was sitting on the steps of my house, kind of like contemplating, like putting in my 30 days notice in my dream. And my dad actually, like, he came up kind of like this, like really cute, and gave me a really big hug, and then like ran off to spirit world again. And so, you know, I think it's a way loved ones that have passed can connect to us, or even those that are present but not in our lives from some perspective. And then I get a lot of prophetic dreams. But it's not necessarily going to turn out exactly as it is in the dream, but it's like these little moments, and they kind of are just like, I kind of consider them carrot on a stick dreams. You know, like in the cartoons where there's like a donkey and there's like a carrot on the stick and making the donkey. I've had a ton of those, a ton. And they're like, I had one about moving to Santa Cruz before my dad passed away. And it was like, oh, you're going to end up in Santa Cruz. And I was like, no, that's funny. I'm not going to live in Santa Cruz again. Here I am. So I get a lot of those as well. And then, yeah, their dreams. I think those are the main ones that I get besides the ones Nikki talked about.
I think that the prophetic dreams very often are to also prepare you, and in some cases to warn you so you can start praying or change your choices or your decisions. So it would depend on the dream. Some can be positive and some can be negative. But it's been my personal experience, whenever I have a prophetic dream, it is a way of preparing me, because there was no way, not that I felt very prepared, but who knows how I would have felt if I hadn't had the dream, you know. So I just looked back and I thought, well, they warned me in that dream. I should have paid closer attention, you know. But anytime I will have a scary dream or, you know, a worrisome dream, then I would usually, if I feel like it might be some kind of prophetic prophecy or warning, then I always will naturally just pray about that. I do believe, too, you can turn things around.
So let's pick up on that, Vicki. And you said you had something interesting to share about nightmares and what Spirit shared with you.
Yeah, you know, I was going through the love and the light and everything's happy and everything, and I started having nightmares. And I'm like, this just doesn't seem to be fitting. You know, I'd wake up sweating and terrified and upset or crying sometimes. And so I put it to Spirit, you know, what is this going on with the nightmares? And then they told me those are the dreams we don't forget. You always remember your nightmares. The worse they are, the more you remember them. And so they're not trying to scare you, with the message. If you look at your nightmares that way, most of the time they're not anything to be afraid of then. Because you got the message, and they'll quit. As soon as you get the message, they quit. Uh-huh.
Very interesting.
And I rarely do I have nightmares. But I also have a dream catcher over my bed because I just think it works. So, but it catches the worst dreams. But yeah, I just thought that was a really, really good answer that I got from Spirit on nightmares. And like Nicole said, sometimes if you're not able in your waking life to release certain emotions, you just can't let them go. That is also another way. That is another way. But they're helpful. The point is, even nightmares are helpful.
I love it. So, ladies, it has come to confession time, and we're going to do something fun. I want to hear one of your most interesting dreams and what you interpreted it to mean in your life. So I'll give you a few minutes to talk about that, and I'll share something really weird that happened to me in the last week and a half. So I'm in this dream, and I'm visiting my friend Jen in, where is she? New Mexico, and I'm at her house, which isn't her house, but it's supposed to be like her house. And my kids are there, and Sammy's in bed, and Brian's on the floor, and all of a sudden there's scorpions everywhere. And they're black scorpions, and I'm freaking out, and Jen was like, no, you just flip them over and it kills them and you're fine. Not kill them as in like, grr, dead, but like they become harmless type thing. So just flip them over, you'll be fine, don't worry, they're not going to hurt you. And I'm freaking out because there's one crawling in the bed near Sammy, but she's like just sleeping, doesn't care, and I'm like trying to flip it, but I'm scared of flipping them because I don't want to kill them. And it was weird because it came on a day where I had to make a where I made a decision, and then something I was afraid of about the decision, like, I think was represented in the dream. So I don't know if it was like, put the fear away and just knock the crap off, or so I still haven't figured it out. But that was really interesting because I'm telling you, there were hundreds of baby black scorpions all over the stream, and I'm trying to flip them over before they poison me and the kids. So that was my dream.
My first question would be, are you dealing with some Scorpios in your life?
That's what I was going to say.
The answer is yes, but he isn't the one that is the one I'm having the issue with. He's the one I'm cool with. It's everything surrounding it that's making things not.
That's that flip part. It's not actually, the scorpion was not actually harmful.
Correct.
Actually, you're in control, by the way. You're in control by flipping. You get to do the flipping.
Yeah, I'm flipping the bitch.
That's I was going to say that. I'm like, I was like, oh my God, that's Scorpio energy. Whatever you're dealing with, that's total Scorpio energy.
Yeah, so I am in control of the situation. Okay, not to run from it, to stay and confront it. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. It wasn't like even though they could kill us, it didn't feel ominous. It was like, oh, creepy, I don't want to die, but it wasn't like we were going to. It was like more of my, I don't want to flip this. I guess there was like, it's more of like a, I think it's kind of like more like boundaries. Like, I'm afraid to set this boundary type thing. So that was mine. So who's up next? Who's ready?
I'll go.
Yay!
Through my life, I've had this reoccurring dream that I just love. It's a little different every time, but it always has the same theme. And it is, I find hidden rooms. And it's like finding a treasure. I love those hidden rooms. One was just, a part of the house that I just never opened the door and knew it was there. But and another one was like in a basement, and another one was behind a fireplace that, there was no fire in it. But they're always so much better than the part of the house I was living in. I think you girls are getting the message of this dream. But every time I have this dream, I know I am going to, another part of me is going to open up that I didn't know was there. And it took me 2 or 3 times to figure out that dream. But it is a reoccurring dream I've had all my life. Oh, and another thing I just want to say, we learn in our dream time. Oh, like, I don't think we covered that, but yeah, a lot of learning while you're asleep going on. I don't know if you're other dimensions or if you're, you know, I know you're with your higher self, you're connecting with your higher self, your God self, but I've learned so much in my dream time. And it's not anything conscious I bring back, but then all of a sudden I just, yeah, I dreamed that. I know that, you know. I've actually been in school situations in my dreams.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I find that too when I'm, like, right now I'm going through some heavy decision making, and of course I'm so busy that I'm not giving myself to meditate, so my dreams are like on high alert right now that I have to pay attention to them. So when something like that happens, I'm like, all right, well, they're trying to get through you, ding-dong, or you're going to stop and listen. So then I stopped and meditated and everything and, you know, thought I came to a solution, and now things are different again. The scorpion flipped back over. But it's true. It's like they come to you with messages and learning, and it's your higher self talking to you when you're not giving yourself the space in your normal life to talk to it. You know, picking up on what Nicole was saying before about how, you know, they're not really intense because she's in meditation, so she hears the messages she needs to hear. So I'd love to hear who else has got great crazy dreams for us.
All right, I'll go. So this is like really personal to me. 3 years ago, I started dreaming about my ex-boyfriend from like a million years ago, and like after these dreams were like night by night by night by night, and I had a boyfriend, so it wasn't like I was like didn't have a boyfriend. Every night I did research, and I found out some stuff about his family that he was going through, and so I was like, hey, I'm getting these dreams because his higher self is reaching out to me and like just wants some help. So I was like, I'll just pray and hold space. And the dreams kept coming, and his family stuff got okay, and I was healing him in his dreams. I'm like, okay, I'm his guardian angel. I'm healing him in these dreams, and the dreams kept coming. And through the dreams, I fell in love with him, if that's even possible, to like fall in love with a dream part. And I think that was part of like the carrot on the stick that got me up here, because he happens to live around here. And I think I needed that to have some comfort that like, it's okay, you're taken care of, it's all good when you move back up there. Because like, it was so much, and I made every excuse. I resisted the dreams. I was like, no, I can't let him. I was so dramatic about the dreams. I can't let him. I have a boyfriend. I can't let him. That was over a million years ago. And finally, after moving up here, I was like, finally, fine, whatever. I'm giving into it. And it's taken me on even more journeys into all kinds of new things. And so that's been my craziest dream experience, because like literally it took the universe about 2.5 years to like break through the hard shell of like, I'm not gonna go there. No, I'm not gonna do that. So, you know, stubborn. But it's been a really interesting process. It's still ongoing. I'm not sure what other lessons I'm going to learn from this or that are gonna happen, but it's pretty fascinating.
Very interesting.
I gotta say, Mimi, maybe it's not him. Maybe it's a part of you that you haven't been loving, that you've cut off. Or because I don't need that part of me anymore. See, I'm moved on now.
Well, I tried that, but I do think because he embraced a real fun part of my life, and the fun has come back into my life, and so I think that was something that was really missing, was the real, like, joyously fun. So.
Wow.
That's
super cool. Nicole, you're on deck.
I was trying to think of what I wanted to share, and I keep going because I have a couple of really, really freaking cool dreams. And then I keep feeling like I should tell my Jesus dream. And I'm like, okay, that's what I feel like is calling, is the Jesus dream.
Jesus is calling.
Jesus is calling, the Jesus dream. This is like a really I didn't realize till later it was a solar eclipse, but it was. So I had this dream that I was in this weird, it was like scaffolding, but it was like a prison, and I was latched onto this, the scaffolding, and with handcuffs, and
Woo.
it wasn't dirty or anything. But yeah, I was sitting there, and I was latched on, and I was in prison, and Jesus came over, and he was talking to this omnipresent voice, and he kept asking this voice, why did you lock, and I was a man, by the way, why did you lock him up? He didn't do anything wrong, and I was to be executed. And so in this execution, it's basically my soul was going back to a source, like it was like being reprogrammed. And he's like, but it's not fair. He really didn't do anything, and I love this man. And it wasn't like a relationship, but like a deep, unconditional love kind of thing. And I was sitting there, and he decided, and it felt very like I could connect with subconscious almost, like I was talking telepathically rather. And so I kind of knew what was going on, and I knew that he had to break me out. And he told me that he was going to send me signs and show me how I could get out. And I looked down, and on my hands was this lettering, and it was in this weird script, and it was telling me how to break free. And I broke free, and the next thing that I saw was I was in Christ's mind looking out, and I was sitting and I was looking down at earth, and he was sitting there and he was contemplating what he had to do. He knew what he had to do. So this man who I was incarnated onto earth, and then he was deciding, he's like, I have to go down there myself, and I got to save him. And he was contemplating, he knew what he had to do, and he decided he was going to go down to earth. And I was in his head, like I was part of his thinking process that this is what he had to do. Then the next scene I got was he had gone at this point, and I was talking to the omnipresent voice, and it was this hallway, and I was in a hallway of doors, and he goes, you have to understand that I was never going to kill this being. You have to see what he created. He needed to take the leap of faith, and I had to guide him to his path. So I opened this door, and I call it the Jesus apartment. So I opened this door, and there was this glowing, warm light of love inside of this door. And he said, this is Jesus' heaven. And he created this huge space that he needed to bring his people into this place. And this is his destiny. And what I realized, it was amazing. I woke up and I felt him I felt the Christ presence all over me. I was like, this is unbelievable. I felt like I was glowing. And I realized that even a being like Christ still has a learning process. And he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know that he was going there to do what he had to do when he went down there. He figured it out when he got down here as he started connecting. And what I got is he kept calling that omnipresent voice Father. So he was a son of God, and he had to come down and get his people and bring them back to his Jesus apartment or heaven. And I was like, that's fascinating. And I looked at the other doors, and I feel like there's a Buddhist apartment and all the different little apartments, and that was my Jesus dream. It changed, there's something inside of me that changed after that moment. It was fascinating.
That is the most fascinating dream I've ever heard in my entire life.
And I gotta add, I was listening to the radio just before we all got together and started up, and of course I turned it off. And the last song was that old hippie song, that Jesus is just all right with me. And yeah, it was. I just had to let you know. I think it was supposed. The beautiful dream, beautiful.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's his birthday, because I always say Jesus was a Pisces. He's not a Capricorn. I think he's a Pisces.
Well, happy birthday, Jesus. Oh my gosh, guys, this was so fun. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. So what I want to do is go through each of you and have what final message do you have for us, and where can people learn more about you? Mimi, let's start with you, girl.
You know, I think there's so much attention put on dreams, and sometimes people get frustrated if they don't get their dreams. And one of my favorite, things that came in is, if you're not remembering your dreams, it's okay. The universe is talking to you another way. It has all its different ways. So don't get frustrated if you don't get the vivid dreams. The universe is always talking to you. You're not being left out. And you can find me every day, GaiaBlooming.com, and on Facebook, Gaia Blooming. I do daily horoscopes every day.
Love it. Check her out. Nicole, how about you?
I would say if you really wanted to get more in touch with your dreams, take out a little bit of media. Take out some TV, take out a little bit of Facebook scrolling. What happens when we're like really saturated? They can't go in. The cup's too full. So you have to clear out your system, do some journaling. It doesn't have to be about dreams. Just do like free write and clear some of your psyche out so you can have a little bit more of a clear channel. Or if you want to get in touch, and that's not just dreaming, if you want to get in touch, clear meditation, clear messages with your higher guidance system, it's really good to do a little bit of a media detox, and that will help you be able to have more vivid dreams. So you can reach me. I'm also on Gaia Blooming with Miss Mimi, but I'm also at NicoleOman.com, and you can check me out on Facebook with Coaching with Nikki, and that's Niki.
Awesome. Love you both. And Miss Vicki, your turn.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. Everybody knows I'm on Facebook, and I do still give an occasional reading every now and then. I retired from full time, but I it's what I am. I'm a reader, so I miss it, and I do still give readings. And I think just the icing on the cake, don't get too serious or scared or worried or anything about any dream. Just relax and know that the answers will come. They're gonna get their messages through one way or another. Yeah. So keep it light, fun, enjoy it, and trip. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. I love you. We had so much fun tonight.
Love you all.
So to find out more about these ladies, you can check them out at all their links. I'll put them in the video below so you can have quick and easy access to them. I'm Jennifer Watson. If you want coaching or a new moon astrology reading, you can find me at www.jennifer-watson.me and at www.stopthepityparty.com. So thank you for tuning in this week. Join me next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. for another great episode of Confessions. Namaste and embrace your power.